So I want to begin this video by listing off the career passing statistics for a quarterback, and when I'm done, I want you to answer just one question for me. Does this player belong in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Ready? Let's go. 22,464 career passing yards, a 56.2 career completion percentage, and a career passing touchdown to interception ratio of 133-88. Now, I'd like to assume that you wouldn't in a million years say that this player should be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, unless I told you that these are Michael Vick's career passing stats. So, today I want to talk about whether or not Michael Vick belongs in the Hall of Fame, and really, what matters when it comes to deciding who belongs in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But before I get into this video, I want to thank you all in advance for 5,000 subscribers, and in just over a week, the channel has quintupled in size, and I cannot even begin to express how grateful I am. I also want to quickly mention that only a small percentage of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, so if you do end up enjoying this video and haven't done so already, please do consider subscribing for daily NFL football videos. And with that being said, let's get started. Now, this will likely be a very controversial topic to cover, simply due to Vick's off-the-field endeavors. However, I want to stray away as much as possible from Michael Vick's controversy. We all know what his controversy was. There's no real point in stoking the flame by spending time lamenting about what Vick did, and quite frankly, it's something that I don't want to even think about. That said, I want to focus in on Vick's career in the NFL, what he did for the NFL when he played, and whether or not Vick's career is worthy of a Hall of Fame induction. And I think the best place to start is with what Vick became known for: his speed. Vick was electric. Vick was special. Vick brought something to the game of football that we really had never seen before at that time. And in doing this, he changed the way we will look at the quarterback position forever and revolutionized the game of football. Prior to Michael Vick, there really were only a handful of notable dual-threat quarterbacks. Off the top of my head, Randall Cunningham and Steve Young are really the only two I can remember pre-Vick. Now, post-Vick, this is not the same case whatsoever. More and more every year, we're watching as mobile quarterbacks take over the college landscape and progressively weave their way into the NFL, becoming more and more prototypical every single year. Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Cam Newton, the list goes on and on. And nowadays, mobility is the norm at the quarterback position, and this is due in large part to Vick's contribution to the game. After Drew Brees and Tom Brady are gone, the idea of this prototypical pocket passer will be, for the most part, a thing of the past. And again, this is due in large part to Vick's contributions to the game. This is due to the foreign play style that he brought to the NFL level, and the fact that Vick truly changed the quarterback position. And at the end of the day, although there were people that came before him, Vick is really the one that truly popularized this dimension for the quarterback position that many had disregarded for decades on end. Vick's running statistics for the quarterback position are, in contrast to his passing statistics, otherworldly. I mean, up until the season where Lamar Jackson really started to hit the ground running, Vick practically had every rushing record imaginable in the books for the quarterback position. And even with Lamar breaking his single-season record in his historic 2019 MVP campaign, Vick still holds practically every single rushing record in the book, career rushing yards at the quarterback position being among these stats. And without Vick, there's an argument to be made that guys like Lamar Jackson would have never gotten the chance to play quarterback at the NFL level as well. I mean, as it is, Lamar was barely afforded the opportunity to do this, with scouts asking him to work out at the wide receiver position as combine left and right. Vick has opened so many doors for future NFL quarterbacks who may not be that prototypical passer, or college prospects that may enter the NFL and struggle passing the ball but can absolutely level the competition with their feet. Michael Vick transcended the game of football, and in doing so, he paved the way for players like Lamar Jackson to continue his work and do the same. So, should he get in for this reason alone? Should Vick receive a ballot based off of his legend alone? I mean, any quarterback with these passing statistics would be regarded as, for all intents and purposes, a bust. But when it comes to Vick's case, things are different. I mean, when you're talking about Michael Vick's case, you almost have to ask, does it really matter? Like, Vick was never this great passer, despite the fact that he played quarterback. His weakest point was probably his accuracy and passing capabilities. But does any of this really matter? Like, coming into the NFL, Vick was never going to be this great passer. He was never advertised as this great passing prodigy. So, did he not live up to his expectations? And really, what is a Hall of Fame quarterback? Is it a player who's constantly at the top of the stat sheet year in and year out in every passing category, carving defenses limb from limb through the passing game and dominating the league consistently every single year, year in and year out through their passing attack? Or is it the player who transcends what the position is supposed to be? Is it the player who isn't prototypical and doesn't fall in line with the mold of what a quarterback is supposed to be, but still rises above every single preconceived notion of what they're supposed to be and carves their own path, becoming a legend in their own right? Can it be both? What do we look at when we have to make the decision of who belongs in the Pro Football Hall of Fame and who doesn't? Do we look at statistics or do we look at legend? Do we look at both? If we look at both, which one is more important? Are statistics more important, or is a player's legend more important? Ultimately, I think that this question is, for all intents and purposes, subjective in its answer, and you can really make great arguments for either side of the coin. However, I feel as if this question is integral to deciding whether or not Michael Vick is deserving of being inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Now, another great discussion that's somewhat similar to this and in my opinion ties into the debate about Vick and whether or not he belongs in the Pro Football Hall of Fame is whether or not Eli Manning deserves to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. When Eli Manning retired, this discussion really started to spark, and one of my favorite NFL YouTubers, Zach Schaumler of Strong Opinion Sports, did a video talking about why he believed Eli Manning should not be inducted into the Hall of Fame because he was never really that great. And I mean, it's a solid point. A quick run through statistics is enough evidence of the fact that, for the most part, Eli was pretty mediocre throughout his career. I mean, 57,000 yards, which is actually pretty good, but a 60.3 career completion percentage and a career passing touchdown to interception ratio of 366 to 244 isn't necessarily great by any means. However, a few days after he uploaded this video, he followed it up with another video, not necessarily backtracking, but instead talking about how one of his commenters had changed his mind by simply asking, "Can you tell the story of the NFL without Eli Manning?" And with that said, I want to ask you, can you tell me the story of the NFL without Eli Manning? Can you tell me the story of the NFL without talking about the 2007 Giants, the ultimate underdog story of the NFL? Can you tell me the story of the NFL without telling me about Eli Manning leading the Giants through the gauntlet of the 2007 NFC playoffs and coming face to face with Tom Brady's 16-0 Patriots? Can you tell me the story of the NFL without telling me about how Eli Manning broke out of the sack and desperately lobbed the ball up down the middle of the field to David Tyree, who had dropped everything thrown at him at practice the week leading up to the Super Bowl in a last-ditch effort to save that Super Bowl, and how he hauled it in by pinning the ball to his helmet in one of the most breathtaking plays in NFL history? Can you tell me the story of the NFL without telling me about Eli leading the Giants back for a rematch against the Patriots on the biggest stage in 2011, yet again as the underdog, coming out on top once again? Yes, Eli Manning has struggled, and hey, maybe he isn't a first ballot Hall of Famer. Hell, maybe he doesn't even belong in the Hall of Fame, but one thing's for sure, you cannot tell me the story of the NFL without telling me about Eli Manning's playoff heroics, just as you can't tell me the story of the NFL without telling me about Michael Vick. You can't tell me the story of the NFL without mentioning how this kid out of Virginia Tech went number 1 overall in the 2001 draft and immediately hit the ground running, quite literally absolutely demolishing every single defense that dared to stand in his path. You can't tell me the story of the NFL without telling me about how Michael Vick completely revolutionized the way that people looked at the quarterback position, the most important position in the game, and added a dimension to the game with that position that we had truly never seen before. You can't tell me the story of the NFL without mentioning Madden 04 and how Michael Vick was the meta and how Michael Vick was absolutely unstoppable in that game and in real life in 04. You can't tell me the story of the NFL without mentioning one of the greatest comebacks in NFL history, where the Michael Vick-led Eagles scored 28 points in the final 7 minutes of a game against the Giants, winning with a walk-off kick return touchdown by Deshaun Jackson in the final seconds. You simply can't tell me the story of the NFL without mentioning Michael Vick. At the end of the day, when it comes down to it, until Michael Vick is a Hall of Famer, and if Vick ever becomes a Hall of Famer, the question of whether or not he deserves to be one has a subjective answer. You can argue it both ways. You can argue that he only ever had flashes and that his passing statistics were so atrocious that he simply shouldn't be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a quarterback. You can argue that he changed the entire landscape of the NFL, having an effect on the league that will still be felt decades from now and should be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame on the grounds of his legendary status alone. Vick was truly an incredible player though, and it should be interesting to see over the next couple of years how this all pans out. But that said, that's going to just about do it for this video. But before I go, I guess I should tell you my opinion. Well, as far as my opinion goes, I can summarize it in one question. Can you tell me the story of the NFL without Vick?